Hello again, everybody. This is Ed with another episode of Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. Well, today we are reviewing the 1973 George Harrison album, Living in the Material World. Now, the version I have here is the set that was released in back in 2014. So, just a very nice set with a bonus DVD as well. Just more of some background on the album itself. Living in the Material World. It was released on May 30th of 1973. The recording dates were kind of sporadic, partially in February of 1971, and then from October of 1972 to March of 1973 is when the bulk of the recording took place. Now, in the charts, it went to number 2 in the UK and number 1 in the US. So a bit of background for the more casual fans out there. The previous albums that George had done, at least up until this point, he had done All Things Must Pass in 1970, which I will cover in a future review. He also did The Concert for Bangladesh in 1971, issued as a live album. So he's quite busy and active at this point, especially in the early 70s, even heading into the mid-70s. When I look back on his catalog, basically every year from 1970 to 1976, there was some sort of new single or product that was being released each year. So quite a prolific time in George's career. Now, we start off with the first track on the album itself, Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. It's a number 1 single from the album. Deservedly so. It's been on many compilations over the years. Some really great lyrics on the song. Give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope. Keep me free from birth, not quite sure what that means, but you know what? It's such a nice, very catchy song, very calm, very tranquil. Some very nice piano work by Nicky Hopkins. Now, Nicky Hopkins is one of the few people to have played with members of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, both as a group and even separately on different projects. I think one of the last projects Nicky Hopkins worked with on a solo Beatle would probably be from around Flowers in the Dirt, 1988, 1989. I think Same Love, the Paul McCartney song. But, at this point, Nicky Hopkins is part of the group, part of the group on the album as well. Jim Keltner on drums. You certainly get Ringo in on the mix, so again, a lot of former Beatles collaborations that are happening during this time period as well. So we get the second song, which is very appropriate, given what I just mentioned, Sue You, Sue Me Blues. This is kind of based off of the court issues goings on with Apple Records with the debacle. Basically, the Beatles kind of suing each other, more specifically Paul suing the other three over the Allen Klein contract, which he did turn out to be right, but it wasn't fun for anybody involved in the experience. Some of the lyrics, bring your lawyer and I'll bring mine, well, I'll get screwed, basically, because not in a good way. Great slide guitar and piano throughout the song. Again, just very much a commentary on the situation that was happening during that time. Again, not very fun to go through that at any level, whether you're former Beatles or, through a simple court proceeding. Not fun, not a thing most people want to do, in most cases. The third track is The Light That Has Lighted the World. And it's really some insightful lyrics. Some of them, I've heard that some people have said that I've changed, that I'm not who I used to be. Well, the song itself, it's really about how people change, which is not really a bad thing. I mean, we all evolve, right? We all grow as people. We all change some of our thinking, some of our perspectives over time. I'm certainly not the same person as when I was 25, and I won't be exactly the same person later on after this video has been posted, after a couple more years down the road. So just very much that. I think a little bit might have been also just directed at maybe some critics as well. Not the same as I used to be. Well, maybe people were expecting All Things Must Pass Part 2 throughout George's career, and no, he's going to follow his muse, do his music, but just also on more of a personal note, and I was reading in some of the notes here as well. Again, he was thinking about writing this as a song for Cilla Black on a B-side. Cilla Black, she was kind of one of the acts managed by Brian Epstein. She knew the Beatles kind of coming up from Liverpool as well after their initial success, especially in America. But just, again, he decided to keep the song, which we're very grateful to have. Just applies to a whole lot of situations, in my view. Fourth track, Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. Just really missing someone, I miss you, so don't let me wait too long. Really not really a lot of depth to it. Really sung nicely, though. Really simple. When you miss someone, you love someone. Hey, very nice and catchy song. Now, this song is really kind of Paul-like, in my view. That's not a bad thing. It's just something I think maybe Paul wishes he would have written. This would have almost fit on sort of an early Wings album, I think, in my view. But, it shows, hey, George definitely had an ear and a knack for catchy melodies in his own right as well. The fifth track, Who Can See It? Just kind of soaring lyrics. Basically, I see my life belongs to me. My love belongs to who can see it. It's very much Roy Orbison style of song. And George mentions in the commentary after the track, contained in the booklet, he thought that Roy Orbison could have really done this song justice. And it's definitely a Roy Orbison style song, very soaring, very operatic in its approach, in its lyrics. Well, maybe not in the lyrics as much, but maybe more the production of the song. Track number 6, we get to Living in the Material World. Not to be confused with Spirits in the Material World by the Police or Material Girl by Madonna. No, this is Living in the Material World by George Harrison, title track of the album. Basically the trappings of the material world. With some of the lyrics, getting worn out in the material world. Use my body like a car, taking me both near and far. Met my friends all in the material world. Very much reflecting on that, on success. I really like this one little line in the song. Met them all here in the material world. John and Paul here in the material world. Though we started out quite poor, we got Richie on a tour. Richie as in Ringo Starr. So kind of referencing back to the Beatles. Yes, living in the material world, all the material possessions we have around us. Very much that success, reaching the pinnacle of success. Maybe asking yourself, if you've reached that point, well, okay, what's next? We've got all this stuff around us, especially now, given in the digital age, even much more than in 1973 when this album was released. The next track number 7, The Lord Loves the One That Loves the Lord. And again, maybe you might think it's a little preachy. I don't know. I mean, it's very insightful. I don't think there's really a weak track on this album. I really can't pick out one track that I don't like or that I wouldn't go back to. It was very entertaining to re-listen to this album in preparation for this review. I hadn't sat down with it for a while. The basic premise of this song, whatever you do is going to come right back on you. We're all making out like we own this whole world. Some really nice lyrics in the song. So again, just kind of, karma comes back to us all, whether we put something good into the universe or something bad into the universe or whatever it might be, it's all going to come back around to us in one form or another. So take that for what you will, as the saying goes. So track number 8, Be Here Now. Well, again, it's reflecting in the song, really be here now. Some of the lyrics, remember now, be here now. As it's not like it was before, the past was, be here now. Very much, mindful meditation to, yes, live in the present moment. It's very hard to do, I'm sure, especially with all the distractions we have going on in our normal lives. Certainly in my life, outside of this on a professional level or personal level outside of the channel. Of course, but it's always just mindful to kind of be here now. Very old saying, sure was around before this album, but just very much drives that point home, I think. Track number 9, Try Some, Buy Some. Now, I know that back in 2013, David Bowie did cover this on his album. I think it was Reality album, I believe. One of the last albums before... oh, no, that was 2003. I'm sorry, 2003 Reality album. One of his last albums before, before his passing. This is almost like a waltz in a way. Some of the lyrics through my life. I've seen Gray Sky, met Big Fry, seen them die to get high. It's very much a rhyme scheme in this song. Try some, buy some. Probably a little bit of a drug context to it. I would think that's just kind of my feeling on it. Your mileage might vary on that, but certainly just a little pause going through. And look, that's certainly something throughout the Beatles' careers, whether it's the solo years or certainly them as a group all along. Yeah, substances are going to play a part in it. It is what it is. Track number 10, The Day the World Gets Round. Now, an interesting little story about this track. Written the day after the Bangladesh concert in 1971, that was the Madison Square event held in New York. Big event. I will cover that album in a separate review. But just some of the lyrics, again, the day the world gets round, to understand where it is, using all it's found to help each other hand in hand. Look, that's not a bad sentiment at all. Certainly after a very powerful event like that, trying to raise money for the victims of Bangladesh, which would then, of course, influence the Live Aid and the Live 8 concerts that I covered in the past 2 reviews. So certainly a lot of debt to George's generosity in using his star power to really pull together a great cause. It's, of course, it's a fact of life now that, yes, everybody does a cause for something or other, helping out people in the world, a concert, an event. But especially back in 1971, really wasn't quite heard of. Again, that's more of the separate Bangladesh review. But this was written the day after Bangladesh. George notes in the commentary in the booklet, emotions are running very high. I had this very powerful experience, kind of writing down some of the thoughts and feelings post-concert, if you will. Track number 11, That Is All. Really, just That Is All. It's kind of a nice little album closer as well. So 11 tracks on the album proper itself. Odd number of tracks that had been done before on a previous Beatles album. During the later 60s, they did actually do an odd-tracked album. Prior to about 1966, you'd have to have either 12 tracks or 14 tracks, 6 tracks on each side for a 12-track album. But you do get some bonus tracks. You get Miss O'Dell as a bonus track on the CD itself. But I really also want to focus on Deep Blue. This is a bonus track that's always been one of my favorites. I got to hear it back in the early 90s at first. I think it was taped off of, it wasn't the Lost Lennon tapes, it may have been the Beatle years or something along those lines. Back in the early 90s, I clearly remember hearing it, taping it, and going, oh my god, and I lost the tape to time, but I remember hearing the song going, oh wow. I mean, this is a B-side track. Didn't get a lot of airplay, but really one of George's best compositions. I highly recommend, after this review, after you've done the whole thumbs up, like, and subscribe, definitely check this track out as well. Bonus track, it's got upbeat backing music, but the lyrics are very downbeat. Understandably so, because this is composed during a time when George's mother herself was battling with her last days of cancer, unfortunately. This had to be about 1970, 1971. George is kind of driving back and forth between, I think, his father wasn't feeling great but would recover, but then, going to see his mom in hospital on hospice. But it is one of my favorite George songs. Again, just that contradiction. Upbeat backing music, downbeat lyrics. Great acoustic guitar throughout the album itself as well, and especially on this track. So really, all in all, an essential album. I think this is definitely one to add to your George Harrison collection. And as I'm reading off the back of this, just a couple of quick notes. On the DVD itself, if you can find this set, the DVD is Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. That's that was recorded for the Tokyo Dome, December 15th, 1991. That's part of the George Live in Japan set. I will get to that as both audio, and there's some bonus video included with the video set for the Dark Horse Years set that was done from 1976 to like 1992. It was a separate DVD that was done. But I'll get to that in another review itself. Miss Odell alternate version, again, just kind of an alternate version from what we hear on the album. Sue You, Sue Me Blues acoustic demo version is what you get. Living in the Material World on the DVD. It's kind of interesting when you see the footage, just kind of going through, some footage. You get some footage of the record itself being pressed, and you see this big stack of records people are listening to, packing it through, seeing it shipped out in the factory. Very interesting, of course, to the backing track of Living in the Material World, the title track. As I said, just a very essential set. Definitely a great part of your collection that you should pick up. I highly recommend it for any George Harrison library or for any solo Beatles fan out there as part of the canon. So that's it for this week. I know I'll have another review up next week for Labor Day weekend here in the United States. I hope everybody's staying safe, and again, I appreciate the new subscribers and the current subscribers. You all keep me going, and I'm really enjoying going through the collection, reviewing everything, discovering new things, hopefully some new items to come as well, some other content. But until then, just be safe, everybody, and remember, please make sure to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I'll see everybody in the next review. Bye.